Okay, so recorded this a couple of times now, guys, and each time I've recorded it, I've decided that there's a few details that y'all need to hear, need to know. Um, Number one, first thing I'm going to suggest that you do is split your paper down the middle before you do anything else. And here are the 5 equations that we're going to work with. Okay, once you write these 5 equations down, you'll know where to split your paper, and then you'll be able to start making your matrices. Go ahead and do that. Alright. I've got 7 matrices actually on this page. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from this matrix to this matrix to this matrix, and then I'm going to go across here and work back up. That way you guys can see everything at one time. Okay, so first thing that we have to do is make our A column, B column, C column, D column, E column, augment, and then make our matrices, or to create our matricing so we know where to work from. So A column, I have a 1, a 2, a -1, and a 1. Okay. B column, I have a 1, a 3, a -1, and a 1. C column, I have a -1. Now on row 2, my second equation, there's no C. So what should I put there? And if there's nothing there, put nothing. Put a 0. Okay. Row 3, -2, 1, 1. Okay. D column, I have a -1, +2 now, had to find it. 4, no D on row 4, so we'll get rid of 0. I will get rid of 4. I will mark that spot with a 0, and then 1. E column, -1, 3, no E, so we'll mark it with a 0, -2, and 1. We'll augment. Pen's running out of ink. Augment, and 5, 8, 11, -10, and 3. So we're going to make a diagonal column of 1s. Okay, that diagonal column of 1s is going to be used to create 0s up and around. Here's the deal. Okay, the top left corner has to be made into a 1 first. Since we already have a 1, we're lucky, we don't have to do anything. But we have to use row 1 to get rid of each of these rows. Okay? So we're going to start by saying row 1, and we're going to add it to row 2 in such a way that we can get rid of row 2. So it's going to be negative row 1 plus row 2, and then we're going to change row 2. Okay? That's going to be my first step. So column 1 is not going to change. I'm going to write it down. 1, 1, -1, -1, -1, 5. Now, row 2 will change. So it's a negative row 1 plus row 2. Well, a negative row 1, okay, is going to be -1, -1, +2, or +1, +1, +1, -5. I did that so I can go ahead and add it and make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so that's going to be -1 plus 1, 0. -1 plus 1, 0. 1 plus 0, 1. 1 plus 2, 3. 1 plus 3, 4. -5 plus 8, or 8 minus 5, 3. Okay? Now, making this negative, I could also add it to row or column or row 5, and I would get the same effect. I get the 0 here that I want. Okay, I want to go ahead and do that since I've already made this change here. So what I'm going to mark this is I'm also going to say that a negative row 1 plus row 5 and change row 5. I'm going to combine those two steps on this one. So row 5, negative 1 plus 1, 0. Negative 1 plus 1, 0. 1 plus 1, 2. 1 plus 1, 2. 1 plus 1, 2. And negative 5 plus 3, negative 2. Alright, I can fill in columns 3 and 4 now because I haven't done anything to those. 2, 3, negative 2, 4, 0, 11. Negative 1, negative 1, 1, 0, negative 2, and negative 10, my augment right there. Now, you're looking at this and you know I can add row 1 to row 4 and get my 0 right here. Row 1 to add to row 2, I'm going to have to make row 1 negative 2. Okay? Or I'm sorry, row 1 add to row 3, I'm going to have to make row 1 negative 2. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say we need a row 1 plus row 4 first, and we're going to change row 4. And we're also going to say that we're going to have a negative 2 times row 1 plus row 4, and I'm sorry, row 3, and we're going to change row 3. Okay? So let's write down columns 1, 0, and 5 1, 2, and 5 real quick because those aren't going to change. 1, 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 5. 0, 0, 1, 3, 4, 3. Alright, rows 3 and 4 will change, rows 5 will not. 0, 0, 2, 2, 2, and negative 2. So, looking at this, let's do row 1 plus row 4 first, because we can see that, and then we can change row 2 here, or row 1 here, so that it's easier to add to row 3, so we can actually see it. So 1 minus 1, 0, 1 minus 1, 0, negative 1 plus 1, 0, negative 1 plus 0, negative 1, negative 1 plus negative 2 is negative 3, 5 minus 10 is negative 5. Alright, now all these are going to be multiplied by negative 2. So we're going to change to negative 2, negative 2, positive 2, positive 2, positive 2, and negative 10 so that we can add. So negative 2 plus 2 is 0, negative 2 plus 3 is 1, 2 minus 2 is 0, 2 plus 4 is 6, 2 plus 0 is 2, and negative 10 plus 11 is 1. Okay? So we've got some good stuff going on here. Okay? Now, what we need in our next column is, or in our next set, is we need to make that a 1 somehow. Well, I can't really make a 0 or 1, but I can switch my rows. Okay? So I'm going to say row 3 swap with row 2. I'm going to swap those two rows. And that's not going to change the problem, it's just going to set me up better. Okay? So I'm going to come over here and go 1, 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, and 5, 0, 1, because we're looking at row 3 here, 0, 6, 2, 1, then 0, 0, 1, 3, 4, 3, then 0, 0, 0, negative 1, negative 3, negative 5, 0, 0, 2, 2, 2, negative 2. Let's show our augment here. So what are we going to do now? Okay, well, we've got our 1 where we need it. We need to make everything above that 1 and below it 0s. Well, everything below is already made 0 for us. We just got to make this 1 0. So what we're going to say is negative row 2 plus row 1, and then we're going to change row 1. Now remember, we're going up now. Okay, everything's going up. We came over, and now we're going up. So, excuse me. So row 1 plus negative row 2 plus row 1. So row 1 is the only one that's going to change here. Let's go ahead and start by writing down row 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to have 0, 1, 0, 6, 2, 1, 0, 0, 1, 3, 4, 3, 0, 0, 0, negative 1, negative 3, negative 5, 0, 0, 2, 2, 2, negative 2. Alright. So, a negative row 2, so this is going to be negative, 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 right? All those positives are going to become negative. We're going to add them to row 1. So it's 1, because 0 plus 0 is 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 plus negative 1 is still negative 1. Negative 6 plus negative 1 is negative 7. Negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3. And then negative 1 plus 5 is 4. Alright, let's draw our augment line here. So, our 1 and our 1 are in a good spot. We're lucky again because our 1 here is in a good spot. We have to get rid of this and this. We only have 2 to get rid of. So let's go ahead and write that down. How am I going to get rid of negative 1? Well, I'm going to say row 3, because row 3 is my 1. 1 plus negative 1 is going to give me 0. So just row 3 plus row 1, and I'm going to change row 1. Now on the other side, I've got to have a negative 2 here to get rid of that. So I'm going to say negative 2 row 3 plus row 5, and I'm going to change row 5. Hope everybody can see that okay. So my middle 3 aren't going to change. I'm going to go ahead and write them back down. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 6, 3, negative 1, 2, 4, negative 3, then 1, 3, negative 5. So I'm going to do this one first because that's really easy to see and do. Alright, so 0 plus 1 is still 1. That hasn't changed. 0 plus 0 doesn't change. 1 plus negative 1 now becomes 0. Good, we've got that cleared out. 3 plus 7 is going to give me negative 4. And 4 plus negative 3 is going to give me 1. And 3 plus 4 is going to give me 7. So that looks a little bit better. Alright, now we've got to make this all multiplied by negative 2 to add here. So I'm going to go ahead and change this negative 2, negative 6, negative 8, negative 6, and I'm going to add down to 5. So negative 2 plus 2 is going to give me 0, but again, all of these are going to add together to get 0 anyway. So 0, 0 first. Then negative 2 plus 2, 0. Negative 6 plus 2, negative 4. Negative 8 plus 2 is going to give me what? Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. Then negative 6 plus negative 2 is negative 8. Alright, so got our 1, 1, 1, zeros all the way around. Now we got to make this into a positive 1, and we got to get rid of all those numbers above and below. Okay? So in order to do this part, I'm going to say negative row 4, change row 4. I'm going to go ahead and do that on this one because all these are negatives, so I can go change positive, change positive, change positive, so I can see that. That way it's going to allow me to do another manipulation. Okay? The other manipulation I want to do is I want to say, you know what, I want to go 4 times row 4 plus row 1, and I'm going to change row 1. Okay? So coming up, alright, I'm going to do this. This column is not going to change whatsoever. The second column is not going to change whatsoever. Third column can't change whatsoever. Okay? Now, what is going to change is this negative 4. It's going to become 0 because 1 times 4, as we're saying here, is going to make this 4, 12, and 20. Those things are going to add together. So 4 times 4, or 4 plus 4, and 4 plus negative 4 is 0. 12 plus 1 is 13. And 13 plus 7 plus 20 is going to be 27. Alright. I haven't done anything to row 2, or row 3, or row 5. So I'm going to go back and put those all in as they were. So, how do we want to do that? We're going to go 6, 2, 1. 3, 4, 3. Now remember, we didn't change row 4. I just scratched that stuff so we could see it. So it's a positive 1, a positive 3, and a positive 5. Then row 5 is negative 4, negative 6, and negative 8. Okay? So I still have to get rid of 6, 3, and 4. Okay? Well, if I go back and do the same thing, I do row 4 times 4 plus row 5 now, I'll also get rid of that negative 4 down there. Yeah? So I know which numbers I'm working with. It's going to be 4, 12, and 20, which are going to be added down here. Oh man, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go ahead on this same one. Let's go right here. Let's make that change. Okay? Because we already know what numbers to add. So right here, instead of this being negative 4, we're going to go 0 because we're going to add 4 to negative 4. We're going to add 12 to negative 6, so it's going to become positive 6. And we're going to add 20 to negative 8, and it's going to become positive 12.